Good afternoon and welcome to the October 9th Board of Registration and Elections meeting for DeKalb County. Can I get a roll call, please? Good afternoon, board members. When I call your name, please respond by saying here. Vasu Abhiraman.
Here.
Travis Bowden.
Here.
Gail Lee. Here. Dele Loman. Here. Carly Swift. Here. Madam Chair, we have a quorum. Thank you. Can I get a motion to approve the agenda?
I would like to make an amendment.
Okay.
Actually, two amendments. The first one, in both of these are in light of recent occurrences. A brief review of the process for removing convicted felons from the voter roll. And second, a discussion on how we can how we can comply with SB 189, which was effective January of 2025, concerning mail service addresses being used as residents in voter registrations.
Okay, so there is a motion to amend the agenda. I need a second.
I second.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, any opposed? Aye.
Nay.
Nay.
Discussion?
Yeah.
Okay. I would just request if,
Oh, I'm sorry. We were voting. So do we need to pause?
yeah, I wanted to ask if we could have some discussion on that.
Okay. Yes.
Okay. Would you accept a suggestion to add this to next month's agenda?
Well, yeah, except there'd be a follow. If we discussed it today, there'd be a follow-up next month, and might be a little late. Hello. Okay, it could work. It could work. Yes.
Okay. So, sorry. So with that, do you want to? What's the best way to do this, legal team? Because you made a motion to amend.
The motion failed, so
So the motion failed. Well, you didn't vote, were you, nay?
oh, yes, nay.
Okay, so the motion failed.
So the motion failed, but
Okay.
then you can add it to the agenda for next month if that's what you want to do.
Okay, so we will discuss the adding some. Let's just finish with the agenda, and then we can, because some of these aren't necessarily discussion points. But okay, so then we need the original motion to approve the agenda as written.
So moved.
Okay, I need a second.
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, great. And then you should have the September 10th meeting minutes in your package. Can I get a motion to approve?
So moved.
Okay, can I get a second? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, great. All right, Aaron, we're going to move into public comment. And I see that there is an online comment, so if you would give the guidance and then go ahead and do the online comment, and then we'll pull.
Public comment may be made in person or by submitting an email of one printed page or less in a minimum font of 12 to Elections Public CCMT at DeKalbCountyGA.gov, which must be received between 35 and 5 minutes before the scheduled start of the meeting. The body of your email must include your first and last name. By submitting an email for public comment, you agree to have your name and email broadcast on Ustream and entered into the record in minutes. The DeKalb Board of Registration and Elections reserves the right at the board's sole discretion to add your email to the record or minutes without reading any of it into the broadcast, or to read all or a portion of your email into the record or minutes. All public comments will be limited to 2 minutes. Abusive, profane, or derogatory language, holding up signs, clapping, yelling, standing in aisles to show support or opposition to a speaker will not be permitted, but a show of hands or quietly standing in place will be permitted to show your support or opposition to a speaker's position. I'm sorry, give me one second.
Okay.
So we have an online comment from Victor Tripp, DeKalb resident since 1978. Board member Gail Lee shared with some friends that she had asked the board to include 2 items for discussion on the agenda for this meeting. I was dismayed to find the agenda did not include either one. I didn't see them, but the subjects were compliance with SB 189, wherein this disallows the use of a P.O. box or similar rented mailbox to establish residency for voting. Number 2, review of the county procedures for removing convicted felons from the voter rolls. Regarding item 1, this board has ignored many challenges in the past where such non-habitable addresses were specified as a residence on the voter list. Obviously, one reason this is important is that the voter may get the wrong ballot when he or she votes. Another problem is that it makes it easier for phantoms to vote. In any case, it is clear that the purpose of this new law is to stop the use of false resident addresses. The need for item 2 is clear because an error was made by DeKalb election system in not removing a felon 3 years after his conviction. No system is perfect, and we have to expect an error from time to time. However, each error is an opportunity to identify systematic flaw and fix it before it causes a disaster. Obviously, the procedure for removing felons must be reviewed and determine if there is such a flaw in it. I hope the board is not trying to hide something by rejecting these agenda items.
Thank you. Cheryl Dudley.
All righty. Good afternoon, all. I actually just wanted to ask kind of the same thing I asked last time, so this would be much shorter than I usually am. Again, for those cities, but particularly I'm asking on behalf of Stone Mountain, since some of us are actually already involved in getting out the vote because the election is only 4 weeks from yesterday. Can you all please give a list of where the actual polling place is going to be, like in Stone Mountain and I guess in Clarkston and any other city where there was no early voting, but they do have elections? That would be very helpful to tell people, and again, getting out the vote for while we still have free and fair elections. Thank you.
Michael Beach.
Hey, thanks. I'm Michael Beach from DeKalb County, Assistant Poll Manager and a retired CDC employee who worked for years on the development and use of national databases. A couple of items. Poll worker training keeps improving. Thank you. Switching the classwork to this room makes it so much easier to hear compared to the area in the back. So thanks for that. Thanks for working on the registration backlog in November 4th prep. It's important. I do want to ask that we DeKalb, please keep supporting the electronic registration information system. That's ERIC, which keeps our voter rolls accurate, but is the victim of a clear disinformation campaign. No database is perfect, but before discarding one, we should ensure there's a better alternative, which there is not. Georgia negotiated exemptions from certain ERIC agreements, so we have flexibility. It is not supported by George Soros. It's paid by member dues. Data security is always a concern, but that's why having a national system with uniform data protections matters. Some suggest Georgia should cut individual data sharing agreements with each state. I've done some of that. That's hard work, next to impossible. Take Florida, for example. We cannot have a state-to-state agreement with Florida because they can't protect certain data elements, so we can't do that. What we need to be doing is really working with Florida to get them back into ERIC. Pulling out of ERIC's a step backward. ERIC only flags possible issues. How quickly data is used and voters deleted depends on state officials following federal and state law. It's not about ERIC. It's federal law how long this actually takes. If the process seems slow, that's a legal matter, not a flaw in ERIC. If we truly want accurate voter rolls, we should continue using ERIC, and we should encourage the 25 states that are not part of it, many of them are neighbors, to rejoin. It's in Georgia's best interest, so please let DeKalb continue supporting ERIC. Thank you.
Thank you. Kendra Bogosky.
Good afternoon, members of the DeKalb Board of Voter Registrations and Elections, staff, and fellow citizens. My name is Dr. Kendra Bogalski. I'm chair of the DeKalb County Republican Party. I have a PhD and a professional engineering license in nuclear engineering, which underscores my commitment to addressing technical issues thoughtfully. I'm here not as a partisan, but as a concerned DeKalb resident, working alongside colleagues across Georgia to ensure our elections are secure, transparent, and accessible for all voters, regardless of party. As early voting begins October 14th for the Municipal and Public Service Commission elections, a critical issue looms. Microsoft Windows 10, which powers our Dominion election management systems, ends free support that same day. Without automatic security updates, our systems face heightened vulnerabilities and potential operational hiccups. This concern is shared by many election experts across Georgia. This situation calls for proactive collaboration. The state might extend coverage through Microsoft's extended security updates until 2028, providing critical patches. I urge your office to confirm with the Secretary of State whether an ESU is secured for DeKalb and all other Georgia counties. Thankfully, Georgia law ensures emergency paper ballots as a fail-safe if machines have issues. Looking ahead, I'm engaging with the Blue Ribbon Study Committee next week to explore long-term solutions like enhanced paper-based systems, ensuring trust in every vote. By acting now, we protect every voter's voice and uphold the security of DeKalb's election process. Thank you all so much for your office's tireless work to make our county's elections a success. I'm ready to assist or discuss further.
Bill Henderson.
Hi, I got a few points to make very quickly. Based on last month, the SOS did purge thousands of invalid and expired registrations last month, I applaud that. I first submitted a list of about 8,000 registrations that were supposed to be canceled to this office on January of 2024. They were 2 years overdue, but I'm glad that the SOS finally got around to it. He also removed the majority of the registrations that moved to Florida that I challenged over a year ago. But this is government. I guess you have to expect that they move slow. However, not much has been done about the illegal post office and UPS store registrations. Most of them that I challenged are still on the roll at this point. I know that there's a new program to try and prevent those from getting on the roll, which is another good thing, but we need to look at the ones that are still on the roll. On another subject, I attended the Blue Ribbon Committee hearing on election issues last week, and I just want to respond to one of the committee members and the behavior there. This committee member decided to attack the presenters rather than consider the evidence that they were presenting. Now, this is familiar to me. I was elected by my party to be appointed to this board, but I was denied by a manufactured social media campaign that, among other things, accused me of being an election denier. Who actually was denying elections there? But my experience is very mild compared to other people. Just look to the county next door. Anyway, these actual election deniers need to understand that DeKalb County is just a small blue bubble on the map of Georgia, not to mention the entire U.S., which is predominantly red. And most of the rest of this state and this country have questions and concerns about our election system they want answered, not swept under the rug. If we really want to have an election system that is trustworthy and the people have confidence in, we need to address and answer these questions and concerns, not ignore them or attack the people that ask them. Thank you.
Last name, McCowan. Okay, thank you. Apologies. Even though I have
Hi, I'm
glasses.
Karen McCowan. I'm a DeKalb County resident. Oh, wow, that was fast. Okay. I'd like to make a brief comment regarding the recent voter challenges. The latest 6 challenges have been submitted in a new format, this time through a law firm. However, I question whether the voters being singled out for removal haven't already been flagged through the existing ERIC system. If that's the case, I don't see why this additional extraneous challenge is necessary. Thank you.
Beth Levine.
Timer good? Okay, good. Hi, everybody. I'm Beth Levine. I'm over 20-year resident of unincorporated DeKalb. And today I have 2 things I want to thank you for. One is I understand you've worked really hard to get the registration backlog taken care of. And that means everyone who registered on time will be able to vote, and I applaud that. Secondly, I know from being a poll observer at this location and at others that getting ready for the early voting and the November voting day is not an easy task. And I understand you are preparing on schedule for these events. Thank you for that. I realize these statements can sound gratuitous, but I want to assure you that I am sincere. In these times, it is reassuring to know that this board and the staff you oversee remain 100% committed to their mission. Thank you again. But of course, I also have a request, and this is in keeping with your mission. I hope you will provide clear signage on Election Day for all polling locations, those that have changed from last year, not just the last election, because the last election was such low voter turnout. It is so important for voters to be able to identify the location of their poll. And I think we had another comment about that earlier. So thank you for paying attention to that. Thank you for letting me speak today.
Thank you. We'll move into items for discussion, and we'll begin with the director's report. Director Smith.
Okay, thank you. Good afternoon. I will provide updates that will bring us up to date from the last meeting. Start with the registration statistics. So on the director's report that's in the packet, you will see the numbers as of October 7th. And I'll just read those and then give you the current numbers as of today. So as of the 7th, DeKalb County had a total of 565,142 voters registered, of which 498,274 were active and 66,868 were inactive. Total applications as of that date to be processed was 1,125, of which 985 were DDS and 240 were handwritten. And I believe that all of those were received after the cutoff. So we will hold those until the blackout period is over. And I'm not sure, 11, 12. Yep. So, and then the manual voter registration cancellations to date total 2,227. As of today, this morning, the total registered number for DeKalb County was 565,384 voters. Active, 498,581. Inactive, 66,803. Today, we have received what we hope to be the last box of applications from the Secretary of State's office, containing a little over 450 registrations that were received and stamped before the deadline, but picked up today, which is our day to pick up. And so those will be processed by the end of tomorrow. all other applications, again, listed, and I'll mention that we received more DDS applications, so we have a total of 1,128 as of today, and 447 additional outside of over the 450 that we received from the Secretary of State's office, but the others will not be processed until the cycle is over, the election cycle is over. I just want to mention that the cross-state activity that we discussed, I believe, at the last meeting, 2,338 notices were mailed. The clock expired on October 4th, at which time we'd received 120 returned notices. And out of those 120, 97 were signed by voters requesting to be canceled. And so those were the cross-state numbers. As of today, all returned mail from May and October has been researched and processed accordingly. So I want to take the time to commend the registration team for working through the backlog, which was received during the primary processing blackout period and meeting this cycle's deadline. So thank you guys for your dedication in getting that done. Moving on to election, the elections team, as you recall, at the last board meeting, the board voted to disqualify 2 candidates. Since that time, 2 other candidates have withdrawn, and so none of those names will appear on the ballot because they were removed before the ballots were printed. And in your packets, beginning on page 6, is the sample ballot. Which also can be found on our website under current locations, and which you will also be able to find the polling locations for the November 4th election, as well as advanced voting information. I do also want to take the time to mention that the polling location changes that were made this summer due to the schools renovations are no longer in effect, so we don't have any temporary polling locations. Everyone has been notified by a letter that they received earlier this year and a precinct card that they received before this election of their current location. So that information can be found at any time by going to the Secretary of State's My Voter page. So you can find your current information and make a plan to vote. The election staff completed ballot proofing and notified candidates that they had 24 hours to request changes, and they went on to diligently finish the proofing process of the text on the touchscreens and BMDs. And so logic and accuracy testing began on Monday and is expected to continue through November 1st, so the Saturday before Election Day. Absentee ballots, to date we have received 676. They are being assembled and will be mailed on the first allowable day, which is October 14th, which is also the beginning of early voting. If you turn to page 12 in the packet, I will review the budget with you. Year to date, as reflected here on the budget document, you'll see that we continue to operate within our approved budget and are closely monitoring expenses. We anticipate a few large expenses to post after this election period, including the salaries of the poll workers and temporary employees that help us facilitate elections this November, along with some equipment purchases, which will have a larger price tag than our normal monthly spend. So these expenses have been accounted for in our projections, and we remain on track to meet our year-end financial targets. I'll answer questions at the end, so feel free to continue to look at that. I'll give a few communications updates as well as part of our ongoing efforts to increase awareness around our messaging with inactive does not mean ineligible, along with just increasing awareness around the November 4th election. Our office has submitted and scheduled a number of communications in our legal organ, the champion, and we've shared other information with other media circuits and displayed the information on our websites. We've also had information drops at our senior centers, our rec centers, as well as our libraries, and just continue to engage with our county comms team and hope to continue to do so and plan to continue to do so throughout the election, making sure that everyone is aware of the key dates and how, where, and when to vote, and just to make a plan to vote. Earlier this week, we were able to hold our traditional joint party meeting. Board member Bowden was able to attend, along with, I believe, I think it was a total of 4 members from the GOP and 4 from the Democratic Party. And the purpose of that meeting, which began before I got here, but we've been able to continue, is to just educate the party leaders on key upcoming election dates, any procedural changes that are public facing, and just to really include them in the dialogue around how we can facilitate fair and free and accurate elections in DeKalb County. And we really do look forward to those meetings before every election and take under advisement the things that we receive, the information and the input that we receive from our stakeholders. Training for the poll workers officially ended last Saturday, but I think there's a makeup class this Saturday. And so as we've been hearing, training has been improving, and I just continue to see that across all of our departments, and that's the goal, right? And so before one more mention, we did have a staff retreat last week, which took place over the course of a day and a half, and it was a dedicated time for us to step away from the day-to-day work, and it was a facilitated activity which allowed us to focus on building a stronger and more connected and higher performing team. And so this is the first staff retreat that we've been able to hold, and I'm looking forward to having this be an annual occurrence. And so, speaking of staff, I want to mention the addition of our 2 newest members to the team, Mr. Thage Reddy, who is in the back. He's a management fellow and with the National Urban Fellows. He's completing a master's in policy management at Georgetown while serving a 9-month fellowship here in DeKalb County with BRE. So I just want him to wave. And then lastly, Dr. Jesse Harris, whose name probably sounds familiar to you all as he joins us from the Secretary of State's office, but also brings experience crossing local, state, and federal governments and jurisdictions. So we are looking forward to his contribution as we continue to enhance our efforts in strengthening voter confidence and advancing transparency. And that ends my updates. I'm happy to answer questions.
Thank you. So I'll start to my left with Ms. Lee.
Okay. Excuse me. Do you have a number of felons that are in that manual list of removals?
Yes, I do.
Thank you.
Year to date, 1,151 of those were felons.
Great. That's a good number. Okay. Next question is, I'm looking at the ballot, if I'm having to fill it out, and I'm doing Atlanta, it's never going to occur to me to go to the back and find it after Tucker. And
If you're, well, this is a sample composite ballot, so this has all the races.
Yes.
When you go to your precinct, your polling location, you will receive your ballot. So
but is it
a 2-page ballot for? So it's front and back, and it's on the touch screen. So it prints front and back, but they would.
Yeah, it's not like an emergency ballot, this thing.
Well, if it is, they are asked to review the ballot, before, I don't. We will encourage the poll workers to ensure that folks complete their full ballot.
Yeah.
I mean, our voters are super voters in DeKalb County, and we rarely see a ballot that isn't fully completed. It's a rare occasion.
Good. And then question on the budget. Please explain this to me.
Yes.
There's no budget item for group insurance or pension, but there are expenditures. And how does that work?
So this is the object class, object codes are calculated by finance, and so they manage that section. We don't have, the departments do not have anything to do with that. They have a formula, I'm sure, that they use, and you see that there's a negative amount, so it's reimbursed at the end, it's reconciled, but that all happens in finance.
Now, is it reimbursed by DeKalb County or out of our budget here?
Out of our budget.
I see.
Here.
Interesting. Okay. And I think that's all I've got.
No questions for me, thank you.
Thank you.
2 budget questions. First question, and I think this is a little straightforward. I don't need to know specifics right now, but just out of curiosity, since the last time we saw the budget, I had some workers' compensation questions. Has there been any workers' compensation exposure in the past month in terms of a claim being filed?
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay. Well, I'd imagine you'd know. That was a joke. I'd imagine you'd know. Yeah. The other question is just a little more specific. There's a budget item for other professional services, and I'm taking a look at it here, and it's a it's a fairly large item. Could you walk me through what professional services fall under that umbrella?
Sure. We, from time to time, will procure services from consultants for elections related matters. We also include in that budget our movers, because that is a service that we're purchasing. So the board approved the Atlanta Peach Movers, and that's who we are using this year. So that expense is budgeted there. You'll see that there's $600,000 left, and so we will not spend that amount. I don't anticipate spending that amount. As we were preparing this budget last year, we were also adding staff, and so we wanted to make sure that if we did not have the internal capacity to fulfill our operational duties, then we had budget to consult with experts in the field.
And I get that. I get that methodology. It's just, I was just curious because, it's a fairly large budget item, and I just didn't understand which professional services fell under that umbrella. Thank you. I appreciate that.
I have a comment, no question. I guess for the budget items for our new board members, is there an opportunity offline that maybe we can have an opportunity to talk them through some of these line items?
Sure.
Just to be clear for the public, this department has done an excellent job with maintaining a budget, staying under budget, and with respect to that first sort of class around the salaries. We don't control how it is accounted for. And so what you're seeing in here is how the county accounts for various things like group insurance. But if you look at the sums available versus the expenditures, you can see that we're within the budget. So I just think that's important. And I also think it might be a good idea to have a meeting so you guys can get up to date on what the various code line items, what's included in them. So, okay. All right. So then the next, are there any other questions before we move? Oh, Vasu, I'm sorry. Vasu, do you have any questions?
No worries. No questions for me. Thank you for the thorough report.
Okay, thanks. All right. So let's move on to pre-certification meeting. So this item is for us to discuss dates for the pre-certification meeting. So Dr. Smith, did you have some suggested dates?
Well, it's required that the board convenes for this meeting before Friday. I think is it Friday, 3 p.m.? Yeah. So
Friday, 3 p.m., Friday the 7th? November 7th?
Yes.
Okay. So that's the Friday after the election. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. So the election is on the 4th. That gives us the 5th, the 6th, and the 7th. When is have you confirmed dates with DCTV and?
No.
Oh. No, we're not.
So I have not, but I can confirm that. And we prefer Friday just to give staff time to complete a good majority of the canvassing that takes place in between the election and certification.
Okay. So in the past, we've done a morning meeting. Is that for the staff?
That's fine.
Does 9 a.m. work for people? 10 o'clock? I'm getting some the meeting is 30 minutes.
Yeah, no longer.
I mean,
than
it's,
that.
as you, this is commentary for me. This is the pre-certification meeting, so unfortunately at this meeting, we don't have all of the information. So what's happening is just the initial information that you receive. No decisions are made, so it is a fairly brief meeting. So we have two, Ms. Lohman.
I can make 9 work if that's the consensus.
Well, is there another time? Because I know you may have, just think about that. Vasu, Mr. Abaraman?
Yeah, 9 will work for me.
Okay. Do we want to go 9:30? Would that be?
I always prefer later than earlier in the morning.
Okay, well, 9:30 would be an option? Okay. All right.
you.
So Dr. Smith, 9:30. We're proposing 9:30 on Friday, November 7th. If you could just confirm and let us know.
Point of order, Madam Chair, just or point of inquiry, just so that I'm fully clear and the audience knows. The pre-certification mechanism that's going to be at this meeting, would you mind just walking us through that just very briefly?
Sure.
Just in case the audience
Sure.
has questions.
I mean, it's sort of explanatory. So the pre-certification meeting is a recent development under Georgia law, which requires county boards to receive certain types of information around the votes, the votes that have come in on election day. Director Smith, what are we? Can you remind us what information do we receive at that meeting?
Yes. We present precinct level data that shows the unique number of voters and then matches that against the number of ballots that were cast.
And that information is not final at that meeting because there is work that goes on to confirm and finalize the data before we have the actual certification meeting, which is the following week. So thank you for asking that and for the public so that you're aware of it. The second, so that would be for the general. We have general special election. Did you want us to do 2 dates or just that 1 date?
We can do
If we need that, if there's a runoff, we'll determine. Okay. Do we confirm our certification meeting date?
Well, that's already scheduled for the Monday
Okay.
after the election.
Okay, great. Okay, so with that, let's move on to items for decision.
Madam Chair, may I ask a question on that? So our board meeting, and I may not have just reflected this in my calendar, instead of being on the second Thursday, is going to be on the 10th.
Monday at noon.
Thank you.
Correct. Thank you for, so our board meeting will also be the certification meeting.
Yes.
Okay. All right, let's move to items for decision.
Okay, and can I just make a note that the meeting that we want to hold for the board, it would be a public meeting if there's a quorum to discuss the budget, and I'll invite, so we need to, I don't know if you want to schedule a time now, and we can invite someone from the finance department possibly to speak to these items if that's what you want.
Well, I was actually, I don't think that it would necessarily need to be a quorum.
Okay.
Because I think the other members of the board have a handle on the budget.
Okay.
So I think this was more indicating that I think the board members who have questions could meet with the finance department. We
Okay.
could coordinate a meeting.
Okay, just wanted to.
Yeah, and we're happy to discuss the budget, obviously, as we discuss it every meeting, but I think there's some detailed questions that probably are better.
As they arise, that was just specific. I'm an auditor, I understand the terms. I just kind of want to.
Got it. Okay, well, just offering it up. Let's move on to approval of poll managers.
Okay, you, on the tables there, you should have a list of Election Day poll managers for your review and consideration to serve for November 4th.
Okay, Director Smith. So we have everyone has the poll manager list in front of them. Are there any questions?
I just was curious how much change, turnover we might have experienced.
From the primary from earlier this year, last year we had a lot of turnover, a fair amount. I think it was the most that we'd seen, well, since I've been here. Do we have the numbers, Jay? Yeah, I don't think we have the numbers, but it was a significant turnover. And so a lot of the poll workers this year were new. But of course, there are qualifications to serve as the poll manager. And so we stuck to those requirements, but we did welcome new poll workers because of the turnover.
I have a question.
Yes.
Is there any consideration given to trying to get poll managers from the various parties?
So the last body, BRE board members voted to remove party affiliation from the application. So we don't collect that data, but we welcome applications from anyone who is interested.
Mr. Bowden?
I have no question.
Mr. Oberman?
Nothing from me.
Okay, I don't have any questions either with that. Unless there are any questions. Well, okay, let's get a motion to approve the list of poll managers.
So move.
Okay, second?
Second.
Okay, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Okay, thank you. Is there a need for executive session?
Not tonight.
Thank you. Okay, so with that, we'll move into board comments. Ms. Lee?
Nothing comes to mind.
Okay, Sloman?
Just wanted to echo the positive comments that were made about the staff and the work that continues to go into managing this department in these challenging times. It is not unnoticed, and thank you. And good to see your face. I thought that was you, Jesse. Also wanted to just take a point of well, it's not actually personal, but there was a comment that was made in the online public comment that was submitted about felons, and we will have an address of that process next meeting. However, no county just removes felons from the list. That has to be initiated by whatever level of government convicted the person. So they have to let the Secretary of State know, who then informs the county, and then they take action from there. So that was not an oversight by this department in order to do that. So that's all I wanted to say. Thank you.
Mr. Bowen?
I also want to echo the well wishes for the new staff members here. This is a very hardworking, proactive team. They put in the hours. They have helped me as a new board member with everything I've needed and gone above and beyond. And I also would like to thank all of you in the audience for coming out today. I know how seriously we all take election integrity and election security in a large county like DeKalb. And I look forward to seeing you all at the next meeting. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Abaraman?
Thank you. Just want to congratulate our new staff members, our new fellow. Thank you to everybody in the department for all the hard work. Special shout out to our IT team for enabling this right here. Here's to a really successful election. Thank you.
Thank you. And I want to echo the comments that have already been made. Not to belabor this, I think this might be a record for our timing. You're welcome. It will not be that short next month. So look forward to seeing you all and have a great rest of your afternoon. With that, can I get a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Thank you. Okay, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.